Welcome to our today webinar, the Fifth Dimensional Academy of Higher Consciousness. Today is October 3rd, and we're broadcasting from Los Angeles live. Let's start with the meditation, especially with regards to what is happening right now, what happened a couple of days ago in the US and with the shooting. And there is a lot of questions out there, a lot of emotions, a lot of people are hurt, a lot of people are in fear, there's a lot of uncertainty happening, and as individuals spread it all over the world, what can we do? And I mean, of course, this is not the only time, only thing is happening. There's a lot of other stuff happens all over the world. And continuously, there are things happening. There's war, there's famine, there's natural disasters. And some of them we feel, they touch us, some don't. But for the moment, let's hold space, and what we will do is we're going to go to our meditation and coming to a space of love to overcome fear and not operating from fear, anxiety, anger, and hate, because if there's any way we can transform the world, is we have to start with ourselves. And it starts here and now. In this very moment, the transformation takes place. And that takes place with you and I in this very moment. Because you and I have the power to change everything. And that starts with a very simple practice. And that practice is to be quiet, to be calm, to be centered, and to be in your heart. As simple as that. Coming back to our own center, coming back to this place, coming back into the alignment. Because with whatever is happening, it's very easy to get out of your alignment. It's very easy to go in the world of fear, to get lost into the anger, to go into revenge, to go into the world of reaction and feel powerless and give in to rage. And we don't want to do that. We refuse to go in that direction. Because that's what happened to our forefathers. That's how the wars started it. And the modern wars that we experienced, like the First World War or the Second World War, that we've all been affected by, all of it started it like that. And we're not going to go in that direction. Not us, because we have the training and we know the path of the heart. So we refuse to go in that direction. And if we're going to react and physically fight or anything, we're going to do it from a centered place. We're not going to come from a place of hate, but we're going to come from a place of being completely centered. And operate from that place, from a place that the mind is silent. Yet the warrior, spiritual warrior, comes out and pulls its sword and it fights, but it's not doing it from a place of anger or hate. It does it from a place of centeredness. It's the Jedi warrior. It's the Buddha that comes to fight or react, but it comes from silence. And that's completely different than what our ancestors did. completely different than the previous generations performed. And millions of people today, they get triggered and they react to situations because they don't know meditation. And we're not going to do that. Yet in the same time, we have compassion and we feel the pain. And for those who have lost and been injured and lost their friends and family, we have compassion for them. We share our love with them and we send them light. Yet we stay completely in our own center. So let's take a moment and take a deep breath and just kind of ease into your own self without any trying. You don't need to try. It's simply, meditation should be a way of easing into yourself without trying to do anything, any effort. If you're putting an effort into it, then it's not the right way of doing meditation. You need to ease into it. Excuse me. So take a deep breath and sink into your own heart. And allow your mind to be. Don't force your thoughts. Don't try not to think, and don't try to think of something. Neither nor. Simply be. Take a deep breath. And just allow your thoughts to float and be. And as you're simply being, without any agendas, without trying to get to anywhere, without trying to prove anything, you're simply in this moment, being here and now, and you are hanging out, you're spending time with yourself, with whatever is happening right now, whatever feelings are passing through you, whatever thoughts are going on, thoughts are happening in your mind, however your body feels, you're simply spending time with your own being in total surrender and acceptance of this moment. Whatever this moment is, you're just okay with it and you spend time with it. And as you're simply being, Feel your heart. Feel the love that is present here within yourself. And if you have to use your hands and bring them, put them on your heart, your chest area, or holding them together near your chest, just feel this energy, this presence, this being that starts to show itself as your mind quiets down, as you relax into your breath. Your presence, Her Majesty, the Supreme Soul, the love of God begins to take over and show itself. And you simply breathing into it without trying. No need to try anything. Simply be here. And in that, the power, the source, shows itself to you. Because when you meditate with God. And when you acknowledge its presence, it takes over. And now see that your heart is opening up and there's a river of light. It's like a window, a door has opened up and there's light coming out of your heart. A river of light is pouring out of your heart. And light is taking over your body. Your whole body is pure light. As you're breathing in and out, feel the presence. It's not a thinking process. It's simply feeling the presence of love and light in your heart. You can feel it all over your body. You can feel it in your hands. That it's getting stronger. And the presence of light, this being, this presence that has taken all over you, that your body has illuminated into the light. And this light is expanding and it's taking over your house, your apartment, your entire home is pure light. And the light is expanding. It's taking over your city, your town that you're living in. The entire area that you are located at has become pure light. And now this light is expanding even further. It's going, its magnitude is getting stronger and is taking over the province, the state, the region that you live. It's so powerful, so beautiful, so blissful that you have lost all sense of a human body. And now this light is spread to the entire continent that you live in. The expansion of this light that comes from your heart, that you are the source of this light, is going further and is now taking over the planet. The entire planet Earth has become a ball of light and love. And as you're just in this very relaxed, blissful state of pure presence, the light that is coming from your heart, that you are the source of it, has taken over our entire galaxy. It's gone beyond the planet Earth, spreading to other planets. This light that you are the source of it has even gone beyond the galaxy. And it's speeding up and it's expanding throughout the entire universe, to the very far distance of universe that it's beyond our imagination and reach. It's taken over all the dark sides. It's overcome the dark forces and has brought unity of all. And in this moment, the light is the only thing there is. And you are that. Now you can put your hands on your heart. Feel the presence of the one spirit, the living spirit. And repeat after me. I love myself.
I love myself.
I love myself.
I love myself.
I love everybody.
I love everybody.
I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
I forgive everybody.
I forgive everybody.
Because I'm love.
Because I'm love.
Because I'm light.
Because I'm light.
Because I'm God.
Because I'm God.
That's why I love myself.
That's why I love myself.
And I forgive myself and others.
And I forgive myself and others.
Because I'm pure love.
Because I am pure love.
And where there is love,
and where there is love,
there is no room for fear.
There's no room for fear
and hate.
and hate.
Love wins all at the end.
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 Slowly, slowly come back. Slowly, slowly come back. And when you're here in this place in your heart, and you begin to feel your expansion, you begin to feel the power of love and your heart, the one heart. Then you know that no matter what the forces, the dark forces are trying to do on our planet today, they have no power in face of our love. We are not giving in our power to the dark forces of fear and hate and anger. We refuse to take that path. No matter what. We will not come out of our hearts. We will not give in to fear and anger and hate and revenge. We stay in our heart. We stay in light and we stay in love. Regardless of what appears to be, regardless of what happens. Because this is a time that we need more than one Buddha. We need the Buddha in every town, in every village, in every province. We need enlightened beings who stay still, collected, and calm in their hearts. And situation on the planet Earth may get worse. There may be more attacks or terrorist bombing or unrest or natural disasters of whatever, wars, fear, all kinds of things can happen. But in a time like this, our job is to stay in our center. In this time of the chaos, it's our job to show and demonstrate what we've been doing all of our lives, the practice we've been doing, the path that we've been called to from childhood. Most of us, we have been called, and most of us are different, feel different. You feel like the black sheep in your family. You feel like no one understands you. You're different. You didn't go the path that your brothers, sisters, and friends went. You went a different direction. We went on this spiritual path, this spiritual journey, and we've been working on ourselves, doing meditation, doing workshops, channeling, healing. We're the weirdos, the weird ones, wearing malas, playing with crystals, doing tarot reading, angel reading, hands-on healing, psychic work, time traveling, out-of-body travel, connecting with beings from other planets, higher beings from different dimensions. Some are connected to star systems. Some are connected to the ancient civilizations like the Atlantis or the Egyptians. So we all have these different connections with different dimensions or time. And we're here. We're the children of light. And so this is what you've been waiting for all of your life, and this is what you've been trained to do. So in what is going to be coming and what is happening right now on the planet, this is our time to show up and to carry the torch of light, because we're the ones who've been doing the work. We're the ones who have to stay still, no matter what is happening around you. Bombs going off, people falling in, rockets coming down, things falling apart, buildings are crashing, tsunami is coming, earthquakes happening, volcanoes erupting, terrorism, shooting. Your job is to stay still. In the midst of the chaos, completely still, like a mountain in the midst of everything, untouched, unshaken, like this. No matter what is going on around you, you are not moving. And this is what we're training for. This is what you came here for. All of your life, you went through being different and being ridiculed and when being made fun of and feeling isolated. And you kept going your path. You stayed true to your heart. And you're still working on yourself. So why did we do all this work? Why did we work so hard on ourselves and chose this mission on coming on this planet? We accepted this mission to come to the planet of sleepy people. Planet Earth is a planet of sleepy people, which majority of its population is half asleep. It's walking like this. Majority of population is completely robots, completely hypnotized, believes whatever it sees on the media, is completely hypnotized by the sports, eats whatever they give them to eat, take any pills they give them, is completely misled and unconscious. And wherever its population starts to grow, destroys everything it's in surroundings, destroys the land, the water, consumes the trees and the plants and animals. It's completely asleep. So you can't expect fairness on a planet of sleepy people. So therefore, the forces of light has sent the fifth dimensional army of love and light. Sending the angels, the awakened ones, the Buddhas on this planet, planting them in different parts, the regions of this planet. Us, we are the members of the fifth dimensional army of love and light. We carry that light. And our job is to restore and bring order back on this planet. But first, we have to complete our training. And our training is the mastery. And the mastery is to be still and silent, to learn to come to this quiet place within ourselves and stay in this stillness, this presence, calm and quiet within, unidentified with what is going on in the world. You cannot buy into it, because then you will be lost in the world of fear and anger. So your job is to stay in this place and to remember who you are. Remembering that you are love and light. And to remember to be love and light is we come to our meditation. We come together as a collective. And you will come back to our hearts. And we get away from the world of the mind. We get away from the world of thoughts. And we'll come back to this place. As we come back to ourselves, like what we did earlier for half an hour. As we came back to ourselves, we began to experience the presence of the Grand Spirit, the living Spirit, Her Majesty, the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Spirit, Yahweh, Jehovah, Krishna, Buddha, Lord Jesus, Lord Moses, Muhammad, Allah. We begin to feel the presence of the one that has many names in our hearts. And we remember who we are, because we're not small, we're not insignificant. When we remember who we are, when we come back to our heart and to the love that we are, we're majestic and we're big and powerful, and no force in the universe can harm us or touch us. No army in the world, no evil forces, no terrorism, no sniper, no attacker, no dark force, no corporation, evil corporation or government has the power to touch you when you walk with God. Remember this, my brothers and sisters. You walk with God. and you fear nothing, because God is the source and the light of all. Everything else fears you. You have to remember that. When you walk with God, everything else fears you. You don't fear nothing. Because you got God with you. You have God in your heart. When during the day, your daily life, you do your things, you go to places, and you feel fear, whatever that is. You go to your job, you're going to talk to your boss about something. You're going to talk to somebody. You're going to a government building, and you have some fear. When you watch the news and the fear comes, whatever you do during the day, make this a daily practice. When you feel the fear comes, just remind yourself that you're walking with God. You have God in you. And your fear will immediately disappear. And you will feel this very powerful presence around you. That nothing can touch you. When you remember you have God in you. And I'm not talking about God as the guy that they have portrayed to us a man with a beard with a stick in his hand that is going to tell you you're a sinner. I'm not talking about that God. I'm talking about the love, the spirit of love, the presence, the power of the presence that you feel in your heart. And that's why we do our meditation, and that's why we come together in union. We come together in satsang. We come together, the union of the monks of the path, the lovers of the truth. We're all lovers of the truth. And we come together and we sit in silence. We sit with the master. We come and sit at the presence of the master. All of us. There is one master. And that one is in everybody's hearts. And we sit with the enlightened one. And we feel the presence in our hearts. And the fear and the doubt, everything disappears and goes away. The clouds, the dark clouds, open up and go away. And you can see the light comes. And you see your path, which direction to walk to. Where is the path? The light pours in and shows you the way. This has been like this entire history of man. There always been the dark side, the evil forces, and the light. There always been those non-believers or those who give in, quit, give in to the fear and react to it. And those who stay strong and calm in their center and they follow their own heart. And you're one of those. You have been doing this all your life. Now we're getting close to the point that we have to master it and slowly teach it and spread it across the planet. By practicing it, by demonstrating it. Not necessarily go out there and preach it, you could, but number one is you have to demonstrate it by living it yourself. And that is to stay in your center at all times and not react. No matter what happens, you stay being a Buddha. Your attention is on one point. You're still. And you're in your heart. And you will see that the presence of Her Majesty is so powerful that creates this very powerful energy field around you, that no matter where you go, you're protected. No matter where you go, doors open up for you. No matter where you go, you find your friends. People come and help you. People want to be with you because you're carrying the torch of love, because you're carrying God with you. And you're emanating love and light and calmness to your surrounding. Because you're living your truth. You're living light and love, not fear, doubt, and hate. And you have to be very careful, especially now, more than ever, not to give into fear, doubt, and hate. You cannot give into that. Because you can't afford losing who you are after working so hard to get to where you're at. You worked all of your life and you signed up to come to this one to play your role. So you can't give it away easily by forgetting who you are. You have to remember who you are. And to remember who you are is your task is meditation. To sit in silence and to come back to yourself. Now more than ever. Because every time you do that, you remember who you are. And you come back. Let me see if there's any questions here. What's going on? Much love. Thank you for your. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're welcome. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna unmute. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody wants to? Okay. Reza, I'm gonna unmute you. Okay. Reza, you're on.
Thank you, Zarathustra. I do have actually a couple of questions, but I'm going to ask you one, and if time permitted, I will ask you the second one. Otherwise, I leave it for next week. When I was reading your book, by the way, a great book. Thank you very much for your generosity to share it with us. On page 90, when I was reading, you have mentioned that I surrendered my free will to God, and as a result, I immediately became free. I understand that free will is the mercy of God to us. So we are born with free will. However, when you say that I surrendered my free will to God, I don't understand it. What do you mean by that? How did you do that? Because free will is part of our nature when we are coming, we are expression of God. So can you explain a little bit how do you do that one to surrender my free will? You are working.
Yes.
We have to support our family. In our family, in order to support our family, we have got some challenges, and all this is part of our life.
Right. And do you think that if you have no longer free will, that support will not happen?
No, it happens.
Right. So if
I
you
don't see any conflict between free will and our physical life. So when you say that I surrender, it means that you take that mercy from yourself and give it to God. But free will is actually the mercy of God to us. And how did you surrender to God?
Right. There's different layers in our spiritual evolution. So as you have noticed it yourself, you're not the same person you are today as you were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You have acquired more wisdom, more calmness, I imagine. You may not be following or doing some unconscious patterns as you had maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or not be doing some things that you would be considered today as silly or stupid behavior. Am I correct?
True, yes.
Yeah. So you have evolved, you have changed, and you're more conscious in comparison to where you were 10, 20 years ago, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So as you're evolving and your consciousness is expanding, this expansion is happening, different things start to emerge and make themselves appear to themselves apparent to you that you didn't know about it before.
That's true.
So there was a time in the evolution of my consciousness that I started when I came across Master Punjaji in India, my Sat Guru. And when he first introduced me to this idea of there is no free will, as I went deeper into it, and as I started to realize my connection with the existence and realize that I am a part of the consciousness. Like, I use an example. It's like, let's say every human being is a wave. Each and every one of us is a wave in the ocean. Okay? So some of us maybe is a bigger wave and some is a smaller wave. Some maybe rides a lot longer and some may be has a short span. You know, you go to the ocean and you're looking at the waves and you see some days it's very stormy and some days it's very calm. So if we imagine that each and every person is a wave, but at the end, first of all, in the beginning, every wave is coming from the ocean. It is the ocean, and at the end, it falls back into the ocean. So the wave is the ocean. So an individual entity that has this sense of separation, has this sense that has free will. Okay, I'm a wave, but am I this wave that I am, that I feel I'm mighty? I have my free will. Am I separated from the ocean? Or I am the ocean? Does this make any sense?
Yes, I understand that. You are the ocean.
Right. I am the ocean. So if I am the ocean, then as a wave, I'm not separated from it. It is the ocean expressing itself in this wave. It is the consciousness that is expressing itself in Zarathustra. And it is expressing itself in Reza. But it's the same consciousness that appears in these two different forms. And the form appears and then it disappears. It's like the wave appears and then it falls back into the ocean. And the same thing, Reza appears and it has a lifespan, and Reza goes back, falls back, and goes back into the ocean. So when I started to realize that, through the grace of my teacher. Then it became more and more clear. First, it was a concept. It was an idea, like anything. And I tried to understand it intellectually, like everybody else. But as I went deeper and I started to open up, I went beyond the rigidity of the walls of my mind. I was able to break through this box, these parameter of the mind. I was able to go beyond that and started to open up, and I began to realize, oh my God, this fellow called Zarathustra is not a separate entity from the source, from the ocean. So its will is the will of the ocean. This wave, its motion, whatever it does, it is the ocean. And in that, I realized that there is no free will. My will is the will of God. No matter what I do, whether I make a mistake, whether I'm good, whether I'm bad, it's the source which is acting through the unit. It's expressing itself through this guy as it expresses itself through you, as it expresses itself through everybody else on the planet and everything else. It's coming to that point of realizing that it's one source appears as many. So it's the same ocean, same waves that are appearing in Los Angeles. It's the same ocean that the waves appearing in San Francisco area, in Bay Area, or in the Atlantic Ocean. It's one ocean. We only have one ocean on planet Earth. All the waters of the ocean are connected. And the more your mind becomes quiet, the more you go beyond the thinking mind. As you go beyond the thinking mind and you fall into the silence, then this thought of me separated, me having my own free will independently from the totality. This wave who thinks is an independent wave, separated from the ocean. That thought, that notion begins to disappear as the mind becomes quiet, because that thought doesn't arise anymore. The thought of I have my own free will, that thought begins to disappear. And it becomes apparent that it is the will of the ocean. It is the thoughts of the ocean, not the thoughts of a single wave, separated. You don't have to agree with me. You just sit on it and feel it and ponder, meditate on it and see what comes up for you. Okay? And we can talk about it again. Just give it a little bit time and just sit with it. And open yourself up to How, if that's the case, let's say, if this is true, then something's been running you all of your life. Something's been making the decisions. And every positive or negative, or every good deed or wrongdoing you've done, then it becomes clear it was never you doing it. And it's not you who is going to provide for your family, who's in charge of providing. It's the ocean that is in charge of providing for its waves, because it's the very source of every wave. Waves come from the ocean. Waves are the ocean. And in that, when it settles, complete surrender and trust takes place. The fear starts to disappear. The anxiety of life starts to disappear. And they lose their grip, and they lose their grip. They no longer are holding us. Because comes this calmness and this knowing that all is well. Yet there is the appearance of struggle. It appears that we're making decisions, we're struggling, we're trying to make things happen. And that is a part of it. That is a part of the motion of the wave. And that cannot be any other way. Because that's how the wave is rising. But it's powered by its source, which is the ocean. And when you realize this and you start to see it, then slowly, gradually, the more the realization settles, the freedom comes. The fear of death, the fear of what's going to happen to me. Because then we begin to realize that there is no ending to you. Because in fact, you were never born. The ocean has always been here, and you will never die. It's only the wave that is going to rise and it's going to fall back. But it falls back into itself. And there's another wave coming. Waves come and go. And yes, yet your life as Reza, or my life at Zarathustra, as this wave, will end. Like there were millions and millions and billions of waves before you and I. That one will end, which is fine. But then there is the realization that I am the ocean, and I am, and I'm always been, and I will always be. So where would I go? What could happen to the I am? And freedom takes over, and peace comes, and bliss comes, because there is no longer the fear of separation or the fear of being vanished. And that's what happened to the Buddha. That's what happened to all the awakened beings. They realized their own eternal presence, a part of the oneness. and they surrendered. And that surrender is not even something we choose. It happens. And the presence showing itself to us is also not something we choose. It shows herself to us. It's the love of God. It's the love of Her Majesty, the Supreme Being, that decides to show itself to us. Why it chosen us, spiritual warriors, seekers, in comparison to billions of people who live in separation and fear? Why is it not showing itself to them and showing itself to us? Why it makes a few of us realize that we're one with that, and we lose our fear of death when it keeps the rest of the world into that state. It has the power to show itself to the rest of them, but it doesn't want to do it. It keeps it like that. Only a few get to wake up and free themselves. But it's its choice. The rest stay where they're at. They come, they go, they come, they go. They believe the world is real. And they have to come and go till they're ready to graduate from this wheel of the Maya, the Leela of life, the cycle of life and death, and come and go, which is fine, because this planet Earth, this 3D planet, is a training ground for some souls to come and be trained. And they appear to suffer, they appear to go through the drama of life, and they appear to go through this recycling till it comes to purification. And as they purify, just like when you're processing a diamond, a precious metal, precious stone that you have extracted from the planet Earth, and now you have to put it into a processing program, purifying it, cleaning it out, so it becomes a precious diamond. It has to go through a period of time to become the lotus, to become this precious flower, this precious stone. And that process maybe is painful, and it's not understandable why. But as you get open, you open up more and more, and you're expanding, and your mind quiets down, and you start to understand things with your heart. And you start to see that all is well, really, and you're in very good hands. And the force of love takes care of us. No matter what is happening in our surrounding, no matter what kind of story is happening around you, You are taken care of and you're being taken home by the Master in a very beautiful way. And you can see it in your life that up to this point, how you've been taken care of. Examine it for yourself. You don't have to believe what I'm telling you. You can examine it for yourself, that everything in this life you went through has brought you to this point. And just see that how much more beautiful you've become in comparison to who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Examine it for yourself. How much calmer you've become, how collected you've become, how much of your judgment has gone away, how much self-love has taken over, how much you have healed, and how much less you get identified with the world. You can just examine this for yourself, that you have come into a life of meditation. And you love it. You will not change it with anything. Because you feel you have fallen in love with the true love. We all went through the romantic love. We all went after the illusion. And we saw it wasn't real. We suffered. And now we're finding the true love within our hearts. We're finding the true love is here. When I'm quiet and I'm with myself, and this takes over, and I feel this so strongly. I'm just like, I want to cry because I feel the presence. I feel like the mother of all, the soulmate I've been searching for, is holding me in her arms and is loving me and kissing me. I feel that love. And I know that I'm in the right place. And I know the price was worth it to pay. Because this is what I was looking for all of my life. I wanted this. I wanted Her Majesty. I wanted her. And that's what I say. You have God in you. Therefore, nothing can ever harm you. Nothing. Because you have found God in you.
Han ska du väl avsluta.
Who is this? I don't know who's talking. Someone said.
Erickson.
Who?
Eva Erickson.
Hi, Eva Erickson.
Oh, is it me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting my name to be mentioned, but there is a very wise man in Norway who says that do not be one of a kind, but care about your flock. And I am wondering about the challenge to choose between the family or my spiritual development.
I'll make a note of that. We can address it next week.
Okay, let me see if I understand. We're going a little bit over. Is everybody okay with going a little bit over? Yes? Yeah? Okay, great.
I just say,
Eva,
yes.
go ahead.
I was trying to get my picture on, but I can't manage this
Yeah.
thing.
Right, that's fine, Eva. We hear your voice.
Yes.
So Eva is asking that, let me see if I understand your question. That which one is more important, your spiritual development or your family? Is that correct? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And when you talk about your family, are you talking about your children, husband, or mother, father? What are you referring to as your family?
And my children and grandchildren,
Right.
because I live in another country than them.
Right. Your connection with your connection with your family is your spiritual practice, Eva. No matter how difficult it may be. They are your teachers and your masters. And you come to this place of following your heart. And sometimes you have to make very tough decisions. They appear to be tough and painful. Sometimes in following your heart, you have to let go of the people you love and become a sannyasin.
Yes.
Means you choose a path of non-attachment and solitude.
Yeah, that's really what I'm reaching for.
Right. And sometimes your family may really need you.
Yes.
And then you find your path of your spirituality in serving your family. Because no matter how difficult or different it may be, but you're serving God.
Yes.
And there are times that, and there are times it's not really fun to be around the family because they don't understand you, but they may be in need. You may have an elderly mother or father or an autistic son.
No, they are all
dead.
My parents are dead, and my children understand me very well. They say they know who I am.
Then you know your path.
In a way.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I have a question here. What about healing from serious illness? Okay, so do you want to elaborate on that question? What do you mean? What about healing from serious illness? I mean, when there is a serious illness, naturally we have to deal with it.
But
Whatever.
we can ask God for help.
Say that again.
We can ask God for help because we also have an ego, you know, that maybe creates some illness. Not everything is from God, is it? In a way.
Well, everything is from God.
Yes.
Because all the waves are part of the ocean.
Yes.
So let's say, go ahead.
What about our ego? If we have a pattern that had been running in the family for generations, and I did get that from when I was 21 years old. My mother had it, my grandmother, and I have to try to transform it in a way. And it creates sickness, it creates self-sabotaging. You understand?
Yes.
And then I try to reach more for God, to the light, because I know I have some very strong spiritual experiences, so I know God exists, I know the source, but it goes like this. And of
Right.
course I want to heal from it.
Okay. I like to get into details and the depth of this. Unfortunately, our time has come to an end. So do you mind if you write this to me or repeat this question to me next week?
Yes.
And then we can get into it and talk about it, because answering this question may take more than a minute or two.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I would appreciate it if you bring it up next week,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get into it and I answer that.
Yes.
That's a good question. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's nice to see you all, my brothers and sisters.